it is time now for Lombardi's list of the week. Today, Michael, you are ranking your top 5 head coaches in the National Football League. We're going to do the reveal from 5 to 1, but rumor has it you have an honorable mention that you want to make sure you do give a little bit of love to that's kept on the outside of this list.
Well, you know, it's funny. So everything is perception based, right? Everything is, well, you know, Sean Payton took Bo Nix. He doesn't really know what he's doing. But Sean Payton, ironically, has exactly the same record as John Harbaugh does as a head NFL coach. And I have Sean McVay 5. I gave honorable mention to Sean Payton here at there, and John Harbaugh is 4. But I think Sean Payton, because of, you know, recent events, isn't viewed as good a coach or as great a coach as some of these other guys. And I think he deserves that, especially when you analyze the one-loss records of them being. Both of them have won 1 Super Bowl, correct? Right? Both of them have taken teams to multiple playoffs. McVay's won 1 Super Bowl. And both of these guys, Harbaugh, McVay, they all have similar win percentage. So for me, like, I think Sean Payton's a top 5 coach, and that's why I wanted to put him on the outside looking in, because I think he deserves it as well, even though there's this momentum that he's not. And a lot of it is attributed to, well, is Bo Nix a good player? Well, Sean thinks he is, so are we sure he's right? Look, the rebuilding process in Denver is going to take some time, and I think you need that. And I think Sean McVay, he gets the benefit of the doubt on everybody's case because of his ability to win and his ability to, you know, close in on that Super Bowl. But that Super Bowl was a fortunate win for the Rams, as we know, and I think he did a great job. I think he's done a great job of rebuilding this team. Now, we're all wondering what's going to happen to Sean McVay if Matthew Stafford walk away, because he's 70-45 as a coach, and without the quarterback, we know it's not going to work as well.
Yeah, and to your point about Peyton, I do think a lot of that, obviously everyone knows he's a great coach, but the recency bias and rebuilding a team is a different task. And so it's like in his prime, of course, he was excellent. But right now, since like 2020, and he did media for a little while, who is he now as a head coach is a question that a lot of people have for McVay. 7 years, been to 2 Super Bowls, 5 of those seasons in 7 years had 10-plus wins. And also, I think another thing that's kind of underrated about Sean McVay, in addition to what we all talk about, his like offensive mind and the teams he's put together, is his staffs get rated each and every year, Michael, too. But he's like turnkey with great hires, has an eye for really good coaching talent as well. Okay, you said Harbaugh is 4. John, 16 years, 10 of those with at least 10 wins himself. He does have a ring. Why'd you have him 4 on the list?
Well, has 160 career wins, 99 losses. Peyton has 160 wins, 98 losses. It's ironic how close they are, right? You know, and these teams are constantly in the playoff hunt, and they're hard to play even when Lamar gets hurt. They still are a formidable opponent. They play everybody tough. He has a way of coaching. I think the culture there is good. You know, when you go through, it's interesting. When you compare some of this to the NFLPA rankings of facilities and food and all that, Baltimore isn't very high in those areas. You would think they would be, but they're not. And I think Harbaugh does a good job of handling the situations from within and developing the young talent. So that's why I had him 4.
And something I love about Harbaugh, too, is he believes in Old Faithful, right? Elite defense and have a stout run game. That's what's going to win you games, and it has for him for a long time. So we go from 3 coaches that all have a Super Bowl win. The number 3 head coach on your list, unfortunately, does not, but you still have him very, very highly thought of in the league.
Yeah, I think he's really good. And I think the only time he doesn't win is when his quarterback is injured with Garoppolo. I think he's got a great ability to call offensive plays. Kyle Shanahan, his ability to maneuver and game plan week in and week out, make it very difficult. And look, let's be clear here. You know, Sean McVay has helped. Kyle Shanahan runs the entire organization. Everything that's decided in San Francisco is done by Kyle. And my hat's off to him. No disrespect to John Lynch at all, but Lynch knows what his role is in the company. Kyle Shanahan runs everything, and he runs it well. And other than the fact that when they have injuries, it does become a problem. But I think Kyle's getting better as a head coach. He's involved with the defense. His record isn't as good as some of the other coaches, but when you go to the Super Bowl as often as he has, twice, and had a chance to win both games in the fourth quarter. People say, well, he can't win a big game. You want to talk about the number one coach who couldn't win a big game? We can ask all the people in Philadelphia about that one.
Yeah, and we'll get to him on the list in a moment, but well put there.
Yeah, we'll get to him in a minute, right?
And but with Shanahan, you also think about the Super Bowls that he lost. Let's also keep in mind, as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach, it's to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes on the other side of that as well. So I think that's worth taking into account. But he, as a head coach, I just love, as a 49ers fan, the innovation and creativity that he's brought on offense, the pre-shift motions, always has an excellent opening game script. There's a lot of stuff about Kyle Shanahan to really, really love. Okay, number 2 on your top 5 head coaches list. Who we got?
Without hesitation, Mike Tomlin. 173 wins, 100 losses. He's never, again, I don't know if you've heard this, Stormy, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. He's never had a losing record as a head coach. Yeah, and so, look, I think some of his 9-win teams are some of his best coaching jobs. It really has. And they've not experienced what a lot of teams have, which is that lull. They're going through it after Ben Roethlisberger, but they've still find ways to win 9 and 10 games. And I know Steeler fans want more playoff wins and want more Super Bowls. Mike's only delivered 1. But I think Mike's at the top of his game in terms of being able to keep the team as competitive as they can, in spite of the inability to find that quarterback or the fact of all their spending. And these are teams that don't spend a lot of money oftentimes. So I think Tomlin is really, really a great coach. And I think sometimes the 9-win seasons are his best that get brushed aside like he's some kind of rank amateur. And for him to hold it together as long as he have and make tough decisions and make changes that he's had to make, I give him a lot of credit. I don't think there's any doubt he's number 2 on the list right now.
Well, and like you mentioned with Kyle Shanahan, how like this with Garoppolo, how you mentioned that, how Kyle Shanahan has had to do a lot without a quote-unquote elite quarterback to this point. Mike Tomlin, the last 2 years, has had quarterbacks that have produced a combined 25 touchdown passes, fewest in the NFL. Last year, it's Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. You still get double-digit wins and make the postseason. So for sure, credit Mike Tomlin for what he's been able to do, making a team be able to have wins and continue to have an over 500 record despite some of the issues they've had. All right, number 1, to the surprise of no one, you referenced him without saying the name, but Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, he's third all-time list. He's behind Belichick, 258 wins when you look at his career, 144 losses, 1 tie. I mean, the guy won a lot of games in Philadelphia, just couldn't get the Eagles over the hump, goes to Kansas City, finds the quarterback. I think one of the things that have set Andy apart is he's found solution at quarterback. Now, what drove him out of Philly was he was counting on Kevin Kolb to be the guy. That didn't work out. They got Michael Vick, had to work some things around. That ultimately led him to going somewhere else to Kansas City, finds Alex Smith, and then he gets Mahomes. So his ability to solve that riddle has been outstanding, and his ability to be consistent year in and year out offensively is really impressive. And the amount of conference championship games, both Reid and Tomlin are going to the Hall of Fame. When you look at the coaches and where they rank in terms of all-time wins, they're Hall of Fame material. And I'll tell you, another guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Nobody wants to agree with it, but Pete Carroll's got enough wins, a Super Bowl win, and a win percentage to put him in the Hall of Fame as well.
Get a piece of gum and stick it right in there. Have it in a glass case for Pete Carroll. But yeah, Reid, the winningest active head coach in the league, regular season or postseason right now, second most playoff wins of any coach all time, 3 Super Bowls the last 5 years. Every time you think this team is going to take a step back, they lose a guy like Tyreek Hill. Nope, they just go on to win back-to-back Super Bowls. So Andy Reid, yes, it helps to have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, certainly, but Andy Reid, a massive part of the success from whether it is the culture, the play calling, or the cheeseburgers. Andy Reid can do it all.